This is our profit and loss sheet we made in our last video. This video we're going to look how we can reference these numbers from different spreadsheets where you're recording them. So what I got some sheets set up just with this basic data, and I'll kind of show you how I put this together and then how to go from this to automatically put the numbers in here. So this is our static data from our last one, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this out, and the same thing down here, and then we're going to build this back. So the first thing is I'll show you real quick how to put these together. So basically just a couple fields. We have the date, and if I double click you can see I can just select a date, and the way you do that is you select this column, and I'm going to deselect. So if I hit control and then deselect the top one, right click in here, data validation, and you can see I have this one as date and reject input if it's invalid. So this is what allows me to double click and select a date. So then I'm just throwing a little description in here and the amount over here. Now on the cost of goods / returns tab, we also have the same thing. We have the date tab. We have a new one called category, and this is where I'm going to split between cost of goods and returns adjustments. Now you can see here we have them combined. We're going to go ahead and split them here just to show you how that works. But you could just have this simply cost of goods here and do it that way. So again, description and amount. Then finally our expense tab, and here you can see we don't have it sorted by date. I just put this in here like this, and I'll show you what it looks like once we sort it by date. I just want to kind of be able to show you what this looks like as it is. We're going to add these categories first, and then we'll sort this by date like you would have it normally. So finally we have the settings tab, and this is going to propagate the drop downs for the categories. So let's go ahead and get that drop down in this cost of goods. So I'm going to do just like I did with the date. I'm going to click on this to select the entire column, hit control, then click on this top. So now you can see I'm only selecting down below. And this is so we don't have that data validation on this top one, because we only want it down below. So data validation, list from range, click on this, click on this. Once I click in here, we can go to settings, and we just want these. So you can see I selected more than what we have. This allows it to automatically pick up if I add any more. Usually what I do is I'll just drop it like this, the end reference. So this will pick up anything in this entire column from row 2 and down. And then I usually like to do reject input just to keep the data the same. We don't want people just typing in stuff, and you'll see why in momentarily. So I'm going to go ahead and just fill these up. So if I select a value and then drag it down, you can see it fills those. And I'm going to do here, returns adjustments. And if I click on this blue box and drag it down the rest of the way. So I'm going to make this a little bigger so we can see this. And now you can see that we have our categories done here. And let's do the same thing for our expense tab. So click in here and do the same thing here. So now let's do this on here. We'll do rent, payroll, utilities, insurance, and miscellaneous. So let's say you're adding a new, you're using this like normal. See, I have this acting like we're at the end of the year, right? And I'm putting all this in here. Normally what you're probably going to be doing is entering in this as you go. So you come in here, let's say it's 2022, you come in here, this normally comes up, it'll show up the current month. So if we're in January 2022, it'll look like this. And then you'll just select, you know, hey, 1/1, we're doing our rent. And then you can enter this if you want. You can leave it blank. So you could just do rent and then put that amount in there. And so forth. When, you know, 15th, we're doing payroll, and so forth. So that's normally how you'd enter that data in as you're going throughout the year. We just have this all kind of propagated because that's why I'm building this, just to show you how it works. All right, so we got our categories in here, and our expenses, and our cost of goods. So we have our income in here. So we're all ready to build this. There's going to be a couple things I'm going to do here just to make this dashboard easier to transition from year to year. So first off, I have 2021 profit and loss, and this is just text. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna actually split this into two. Let me get rid of the space at the beginning. So, and often what I'll do is I'll highlight this. So what I'm doing here is making this a standalone cell. And the reason why is I'm going to show you, I'm going to turn these months into an actual date. And then you're going to see the reason for that momentarily when I build these formulas. So what I'm going to do is this date formula. And what it takes is a year, a month, and a day. So what I'm going to do is just click on this cell. So I'm going to grab that year. And then this is going to be January, so I'm just going to type 1-1. So you can see that date pops up in this, showing me what date is going to be returned. So we can see here 1-1. Now I locked this cell reference. If you don't know what that means, you can look up my other YouTube video on cell reference locking. This means that as I drag this to the right, this reference is not going to change, so it's going to keep referring to my 2021. So you can see that. I'm just going to go quickly through here and update these to the correct months for the year. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So now what I'm going to do, instead of having this date here, because that makes it a little harder to understand, I'm going to go to this formatting bar. You can also get to it from here. There's just a little quicker formats, more date and time. And what I'm going to do, you can scroll down here and see if they have it here. But otherwise, what I'll do is I'll just go in here and backspace, delete all the other ones. I'm just going to take the month. And I could do month as abbreviation, month as full name. This one I have a little bigger, I have more room. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the full name. If I'm doing a smaller dashboard, I might do August, just the AUG. So there we go. Now we have those names back, but those are actually dates. And I'm just going to copy this. And then paste formulas only. And paste formulas only. So I'm going to have to get that number format, it should be right there. The most recent usually shows up right here. So I just hit that. And again, down here. So now everywhere we got these, it's actually a date showing up. So why is this important? Well, let's go to our income. So we're going to use this formula I like to use a lot called sum ifs. Now sum ifs, if we hit this little formula help, we want the sum range, what we want to add up, and then our criteria in pairs following that. So our criteria range and the criteria we're going to use. So how does this work? So I got this open-ended. I'm going to go to income and what I want to sum and drop that there. Let's try this again. Now we got showing here. So I want this sum when this is the right month. So comma, I'm going to grab this and now I'm going to jump back in here. And so what I'm going to do, another comma, now I need to do my criteria. So I got my sum range, what I want to add up, and then I want it when the date in here is equal to January. So the way I'm going to do that is the way in sum ifs that you do greater than or equals to is you do these double quotes, and then I want to actually reference the cell, so then I use this ampersand symbol, and now I can just click on this cell. If I can click on it, it might pop up. So D6. So this isn't quite the formula I need because now I'm just saying if it's greater than or equals to January 1st. If you remember, this was January 1st was the date. So I want between January 1st and January 31st. So I just copied this, not including the last comma, paste it. Now what I need to do is do less than or equal to the end of January. And the way you do that is this little cool formula called end of month. So it's just EO month. And then I still have that cell, so January 1st. But I need to do 0 to do the same month. So if I do end of month 1, that would actually be February 28 or 29 of a leap year. But I want the same month, so I'm just doing 0. Now I need one more parentheses to close out the formula. If I hit enter, I'm not going to use Google's autofill, I don't need that down there. But now you can see I have that number the sum of the income in C from income tab, where the date is greater than or equal to January 1st, which is right here, and then less than or equal to the end of January 1st, which is January 31st. So I can actually just drag this over, but I have to lock some of these. Again, cell reference locking. Otherwise, if I go like this, it's going to go give me an error because the C and A turn to D and B, and those aren't the right columns. And this one's also going to end up changing. So I'm not going to drag this down, so I don't need a lock. Let me go ahead and just do these real quick, sorry. I'm going to lock these. So now, if I go like this, those are staying the same, but this one I did not lock, so it's actually went over to February now. Now if I was going to drag this down, I would want to lock this row reference, this 6, but since my cost of goods is in a different tab, I'm going to use a different formula to do that. So as it is, I'm good to go. I'm just going to go ahead and drag this all the way over to December, and you can see now I'm picking up those totals from each of those months. So now what I can do is basically the same thing over here. So sum ifs, but now I'm going to go to COGs, do this sum. Now I have these categories in here, but I'm not actually using them. So I could do one of two things. If I want to maybe split these at a later date, what I might want to do is select this, and then I could either do this manually and say I only want cost of goods, or maybe I want to see only returns adjustments. But in this case, since I wanted to grab both of them, I'm just going to leave that category off for now. But that is something you can use if you have this category here, maybe later date. You want to split this cost of goods returns into 2 separate lines. In that case, you could use this category in the same way. So instead, I'm just going to go with this date. And let's go back to here. And I'm going to do that same formula, greater than or equals to ampersand this cell, and then comma. And I'm going to click and grab this and switch this around, less than or equal to end of month D6 0. Now let me go ahead and lock these columns before I drag it over. And I can see I have my final number there, drag it over, and I have that through December. So basically now I'm going to do the same thing down here, except now I have categories that I am going to use. So let me start with this sum ifs, grab this amount. Now I can do either one first. So sum ifs doesn't care the order you do your criterias. So maybe for the sake of keeping it the same, let's go ahead and do date first. So greater than or equal to, and now I can do down here. I could leave these as just text and then just refer to these all the way down. But just for the sake of keeping things the same, I like to do the same all the way down, just in case I need to reference those. Sometimes this also makes a difference. Maybe I want to have up here be 2021. Maybe down below, I'm going to have a section where it's referencing 2020, the year before, or something like that. So let me just continue on here. And less than or equal to end of month 0, and finish our query. I didn't lock these first, so let me go back and lock these real quick before I drag this. And this one, so we didn't add our category yet, so I need to get back there and do that. But this one, I can actually drag down and use this whole thing. So here's what I'm going to do. Let me go ahead and lock this row. I don't need to lock the column because I'm going to drag this over, so I do actually want this D to change and update. But I do need to go back and add. I need to go back here and add. Let's see if it keeps it. Yep. So I need to add this. Now, what I can do, I could put this in manually and do payroll, right? But I have these expense categories right here. So what I could do, instead of typing it in, is just select this, finish my parentheses, finish my formula, lock this again to make sure that doesn't move. Now this one, if I'm going to drag it over this way, I don't want this C to change because my payroll is only in this column. So I'm going to actually lock just the C. The 14 I can leave because it's going to go to 15 while I drag down, and then it'll pick up rent and utilities, insurance, and MISC. So this will work just fine for what we have. And we can go ahead and let it grab those, except for messed up our formatting a little bit. That's okay. We'll fix that in a second. So let me just go ahead and drag this over. And let's go ahead and, let's see here. I think I can just go like this. Fix our formatting a little bit. And bottom, top. And then I gotta click out, unfortunately, and then let's go back and finish this off. I think somewhere in here, maybe. So, all right, maybe one darker. And we'll go with that. So now we got our expenses in there by category for the whole year. And since we had our profit just doing our expenses from our gross profit, we already have that in there as well. Looks like I got some vertical lines missing here. Let me just go ahead and add those. So now we have this automatically showing up from here. So let's just go in here. Let's just show income. Since when I'm making this video, we're not even in, we're just in September. So let's just say we're all the way up, you know. We don't actually have this data yet. Obviously this is not gonna reflect across the same because I didn't delete all of them. But now you can see we got zeros here. And then if I go back here and undo, our data shows back up dynamically. So this is a great way to quickly put together a dynamic profit and loss sheet where you can have your tabs come in here where you can enter data as you go throughout the year. Or if you're doing a shorter period, you can do this throughout the month. But then you can just enter your data as you go here, and then in your profit and loss, it'll automatically add them up per month and show you all your totals that way. Alrighty, let me know if you guys have any questions or comments. I'm going to make some more videos soon, hopefully, and we'll just keep chugging along. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.